Welcome back to episode 4. In last episode, we were able to take on the rival, our only rivalry game this season, where we took on the UTSA Roadrunners and we lost in a convincing fashion. We had some hiccups there towards the end of the game, mostly due to the systematic stuff with the game. We subbed out our quarterback and put in our punter for whatever reason, but we do have some silver linings from there. We had a really good game, a ton of good runs from Pear and some other guys in the backfield. So I'm very excited about that. This week we take on Arizona State, and it is going to be a very, very tough game. It's on the road. Stadium pulse is going to be a major factor. Arizona State's rated 84 overall. That is a 15-point difference. A big difference this year in the overall ratings is that you are going to be significantly lower than a lot of top-tier teams if you come into a smaller program. So that's what we're seeing here. And the Sun Devils will come into this game behind the arm of Sam Leavitt, who led them to the college football playoff last year and a first-round bye where they faced Texas in possibly one of the best games of the whole playoff in the Peach Bowl. But after that high last season, Arizona State will come into our game at 1-1 after a blowout win against FCS West. But they did lose their second game on the road at Mississippi State as the Bulldogs were able to get the 10-point victory at home over the Sun Devils. So the Sun Devils are returning home and looking for some revenge against a lesser team in Texas State. But hopefully we can keep pace and just make this a competitive game because all things are pointing towards a blowout. And then in the second half of this video, we'll be heading back home to take on FCS Southeast for a double feature game in this one. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But first, let's touch on some recruiting before we head to Arizona to take on the Sun Devils. Again, we've gone over these at the end of videos, but I want to kind of flip it back and forth. So we're going to go over it here at the beginning. Marco Gibbs looks to be coming into the top 5 very soon. Nick Fumagalli is going to hopefully be our quarterback of the future. The 3-star 6'5", 190 pocket passer out of Cedar Hill, Texas, is looking like he's going to come to the Bobcats and stay home in his home state. Roland Humphreys, another 3-star, a wide receiver gadget player, a 6'1", coming out of Houston, Texas, isn't getting any interest from anybody else around the country. And then as we get through here, another guy, Rodney Isaac, just got into his top 5 this week. The East-West playmaker out of Austin, Texas, is hopefully going to call Texas State home for the next few years. We did add a couple more guys to the board. Sean Cook, a 2-star wide receiver. We only have 3 stars on the board, and again, with the limits we have in place, it may not be the most beneficial to just go after 3 stars. Multiple 3 stars at one position, so we got Cook in there as well. We added Jeremy Trahan, the punter, because we do need a punter this season, and then Josh Ortega, another guy we added last week, a running back, a north-south receiver, so he's going to be a guy that we hopefully can get in and kind of be using as a receiving back. The old archetype is now split into a few others, but using him kind of out of the backfield in some check downs and some screenplays, which this year's screenplays have been very, very good. So hopefully we can get a good guy in, even if he is a 2-star. Hopefully he can surprise us and be kind of like a hidden gem, although we won't find that out until next year since we're limiting ourselves to 40% scouting per each player. And like I said, we had covered Sam Leavitt just a little bit ago, but he is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the game right now. The sophomore redshirt QB out of Oregon looks to be very, very good. He's very, very dynamic, 84 speed, very good throw power at 94 as well. So he's going to be a tough nut to crack. I'm not even sure if we're going to be able to get to him a ton. And if we do, they're going to have some running backs as well. Kanye Udo has a ton of abilities, 5 gold abilities, shifty, head first, road dog, clear-headed, and the natural. All going to be very, very good. 88 overall, boosted to 89 with their young head coach in Kenny Dillingham boosting him up a little bit as well. And then their wide receivers, one of the best receivers in the game, only behind Jonathan Smith, Jordan Tyson. He's going to be a guy that's going to be out there and in the slot. He's going to be very, very difficult to guard, although he only has 91 speed, which could work in our advantage if we can keep him inside the lines. But this team is very, very good, built top to bottom with top tier talent all the way around. So this is going to be one of, if not the toughest games we play all season. And it's going to be rough for us out there in the Arizona heat. Good thing we play at 9 p.m., so it will be a night game. But switching on to the defense, They have great players here. Their defensive tackle, CJ Fight's going to look to wreak havoc on us. And then their Sam linebacker, Keyshawn Elliott, the senior thumper archetype, a new archetype this year, 87 overall boosted. And it just doesn't get any easier. And then you have two cornerbacks out here. Javon Robinson is looking very good as well. And paired up with him is going to be Keith Abney II, another good cornerback at 83 overall. Two good cornerbacks out there. And Abney has 17 tackles on the season and 1 interception. So he's going to be a threat to pick us off or just blow up a play in the backfield. And then moving on to free safety, Mile Rouser, another great guy. And then their top player here, the former All-American, All-Conference player in the Big 12, Xavion Alford, the box special at 6 foot tall, 91 overall. And their secondary is just scary. He also has an interception as well, 11 tackles on the season. It's going to be a very, very hard game against the Sun Devils. But now that we have the scouting report out of the way, now that we know what we're up against, let's go ahead and get into this and see what damage we can do, if we can do any damage. Hopefully we don't get shut out, but honestly, anything are in the cards right now. So let's go ahead and jump right in as we take on the Sun Devils in Arizona. And as we get into the game here, we will get our first looks at the new game introduction here at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. We have our hands full, a ton of top tier talent on the opposite side of the field, where we have very, very little. But right there, dead center, is going to be a man, Khalil Alexander. Is going to have a great game today. He's going to need to get to Sam Leavitt as much as possible. If he's able to get to him one time, I feel like that's going to be very beneficial for us. We are outmanned and outmatched, but can we get it done here on the road as we go up against a massive dynamic duo? Shimon Mateer is going to be there on the tight end role with Sam Leavitt. They also have an incredible wide receiver out there at the hashes. And the first play goes to who other than their TIG tight end. He is going to get a gain of 10 yards. Second play of the day will go to their running back, and Trez Moore is there on the big tackle. 2 plays later, 3rd and 2, and there's a big play to the left-hand side as Jordan Tyson beats the defender off the line and is wide open for a quick 20-plus yard game as they're going fast pace here. Sam Leavitt, another completed pass, almost up to 60 yards, and there wasn't even 4 minutes off the clock this time. Sam Leavitt, keeper, and he'll get into the end zone, and that is a 6-0 ball game, and we are in trouble now as he is hitting the gritty. I didn't know the white man could dance like that, but the Tempe or Arizona State Devils will go up early here on the quarterback keeper. Read the defense perfectly. We probably would have had that running back tackled for a loss there if we were able to get to him. But first drive for the Bobcats starts off with a run with Perry through the gut up the middle for a gain of 7. But going back to the well, he gets tackled only for a gain of 1. 3rd and 2, big conversion coming up. Hit as he throws as Garriner, incomplete off of his own offensive lineman. And they will get a 3 and out on the first drive, wide open across the middle, and a juke. He lost a defender. And not even 3 plays into the drive, the Sun Devils go back to back. 13-0 here at home. Jalen Moss with the nice juke. One man to beat, and oh my goodness, did he beat him. Another look at it there, the ankle breaker, looking like he's playing basketball. And we are down 14-0 on our second drive. Garriner across the middle, bad pass, double coverage, and that is an interception. And they will be on their own 30 as they are looking to score again in the first quarter and across the middle. Leavitt will find another receiver out there for another big game, but this time Khalil Alexander, the man we talked about at the beginning of the game, will get his first sack of the night. He's had an incredible year so far in the first 2 games. He is coming up big in this one, even though we're down 14-0. We can't let this get even more out of hand. And Alexander's doing everything he can to put up a fight here. 3rd and 12 now in the red zone. Drops back to pass, back corner of the end zone. And it's dropped by our defensive back. He had it right there, and that's exactly why he is playing defense and not offense. This time, Perry, gain of 15 through the middle there. Sorry, a gain of 12 off of the little run through the left tackle gap he made. But looking at the end of the first quarter, 165 yards of total offense, 9 minutes and 40 seconds of possession. That's not going to win you many games, and it's showing down 17-0 across the middle. Garner finds Lions, but he comes up short. And what else is going to happen? They're going to go for it. Bigs against bigs. Goal line formation. Push through the middle. And he'll get the first down, the first of the game. Actually, not the first of the game, but the first of the second quarter. It feels like the first of the game. On the jet sweep, trying to pull something off in a little trick play. Gets stopped in the backfield. Hit it, he throws. And up in there is the big man, number 99. With the big man interception, and the crowd is going crazy. Everybody loves when a big guy gets a interception or a fumble recovery and runs it back. Wasn't able to complete it for a touchdown, but CJ Fight, the big defensive tackle up in the middle, typically known for getting to the quarterback, will get an interception, his first of the season. Just a hilarious turns of events for the Sun Devils and not so much for the Bobcats. And across the middle, who else does Leavitt find other than his buddy out there at wide receiver? But we do get the stop, 3 and out, but on the ground will be a fumble. Number 10, a pick up and a scoop and score. And this game is getting out of hand, 24-0. As the Sun Devils are doing it on both sides of the ball, through the air, on the ground, and CJ Fight, the man who just got a pick, will cause a forced fumble, a sack as well, and that will be 6 for the Sun Devils as Smith was able to run it back unabated, nobody in front of him, as you typically don't prepare to fumble the ball. Across, an amazing pass by Leavitt up in the air, and he gets mossed and breaks the tackle as well. And that is going to be another touchdown before we even reach halftime. What in the world was that play? Jordan Tyson, the second of the game for him, and look at that throw. Off balance, off of 1 foot, against his body, somehow throws it 40+ yards. Tyson goes up and gets it over the top like a good center fielder out there with the web gem. He'll run it in after he just, ran over our defensive back there. Our safety just tripped over himself and runs it in. Look at that. Tyson, just speaking about him. First touchdown of the game. Sorry, I thought he had 2. Doesn't surprise me if you had already had it. But 7 targets, 6 catches, has 140 yards. And he's only played 24 minutes today. Absolutely insane. Garner drops back the throw across the middle. John Jr. will catch it there on the receiving end, able to get a first down. His first reception of the day. Garner rolling out to the right, and he finds his man a little bit behind him, but Bo Sparks stretches it, and we are inside the 40 for the first time today. It only took us 25 minutes of game time to finally make it across the halfway mark, and Perry takes it, tries to get a spin move, but doesn't get there. The defensive end almost blew up that play, but Perry was able to scoot out of there really quickly. This time to the backup running back, gets stopped along the line, and this time 4th and 2, going for it again across the middle to the tight end, but blown up. He had the ball in his hands, but just couldn't hold on to it as he took a rib shot and falls to the ground. And the Sun Devils march down the field, and on this quick play, the quick pass will get him another touchdown. McLean across the middle, nobody within 10 yards of him. One of the easiest touchdowns you'll ever see. But flashing ahead to the fourth quarter, we finally again make it across the 50-yard mark, across the 30 this time. 3rd and 5 we need it here against the backups, and across the middle, Sparks. Another bailout opportunity there, completed to him as the backup. Yarnell is trying to get the first touchdown of the day, but he'll take the sack, the 4th one for the Sun Devils. And we will settle for a field goal as we cut the lead to 41 tonight. But it wasn't enough as the Sun Devils will walk away with this one. But thank golly we didn't get shut out. We were playing for pride there at the end, and it shows. 17 in the first, 14 in the second. They only needed 1 quarter today to really beat us. 303 yards by the quarterback, 4 touchdowns, an insane completion percentage. Just an insane performance all around. And after that absolute beatdown by the Sun Devils, we can take a look at the stats. Looking at total offenses, they blew us out of the water. 353 total yards for them. They were averaging 7.5 yards per play. We were only averaging just below 4. We had 29 rushes. That was really only the thing that kind of even kept us close in competition, and we weren't even close in that matter. Our passing game was pretty abysmal, only racking up 4.5 yards per pass. Arizona State did do really well, but they did a ton of checkdowns, just a ton of, bubble screens and just across the middle passes. Taking a look at the player stats, you can see that Sam Leavitt threw for 3 touchdowns, a long of 80 yards. He did get sacked 3 times, but he was 25 for 27 for a 92% completion percentage and a 223.5 passer rating, which is absolutely insane. Comparing that to our quarterback, Holden Garner, he didn't do very good. 85 rating, 127 yards, threw 3 picks. And that was one of the big things we were worried about before the game during the scouting report. He did throw for a 68% completion percentage, so not terrible all around. Moving on to rushing, they didn't really have a big rushing attack. All 4 of the guys that got rushing yards only amassed 47 total yards. Comparing that to ours, we had a very, very good rushing attack, or in comparison, we had a way better rushing attack. Lincoln Perry had 89 yards on 16 carries, 5.6 average. He didn't have any touchdowns. We didn't have any touchdowns as a team, so that is what it is. But in terms of rushing, we are definitely more of a feature-focused rushing team than passing. But as we advance into week 4, we will be taking on FCS Southeast. FCS Southeast doesn't look to be too good on paper. We definitely should have the advantage. Looking here at the pregame menu, they're a 48 overall team, and that is just absolutely a drastic change from last year. We have 21 overall points ahead of them, so we should be able to get the easy win, and we'll showcase that here in a moment. But let's catch up on some recruiting and see what we can do with the guys that we've made progress on this week. As we get to the recruiting board, we can see 3 different guys have the deal breaker pop up now. That's a new thing with this season, is that every player in the game will have a deal breaker. If you can't maintain that, they're going to easily move on to the next team, or they won't even come to your school if you're still in recruiting. So Alex Simonson, Nick Fumagalli, who's going to be our quarterback of the future, and Mark O. Gibbs, 3 3-stars that we are really hoping to bring into our team this year, have fallen below that threshold. Playing style seems to be the big thing that we need to increase. For Nick Fumagalli, he's a pocket passer, so we need to pass a ton more yards. Right now, we're only averaging 164 per game, so we need to bump that up to at least, I would say, 180, maybe even higher than that, just to impress Fumagalli. And then for our raw strength guard that we're looking to get, Simonson, we need to increase his total yards per game. We're averaging 256, but we need to bump that up to even higher, so hopefully this FCS Southeast game will help that. But then on the flip side, we have the cornerback field archetype, which is the reverse of the offensive side, is we're going to need to keep the defensive yards per game to a minimum. Right now, we're just below 260, and a big component of that was because we allowed almost 400 yards against the Arizona State team. So this game against FCS Southeast is going to be very, very pivotal, not only for our record and possible postseason play, but also for recruiting this year. And so we're going to have to hopefully get back and drop a ton of points, a ton of yards, and all of that this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it and see if we can improve our poor situation on the recruiting trail. And probably the most important thing of this game is going to be improving our standing with our recruits. FCS Southeast doesn't look like a terribly good opponent on paper, but FCS teams have been known to give some teams some issues in the past, especially last season. It was a whirlwind then, so hopefully they fix that. But the boys are coming out for the first drive, and the first play of the game will be a little bubble screen as Anderson's able to fight off his first tackler to get past that first down line. Fast forward in a couple plays, 3rd and 10 now, as the Bobcats are trying to avoid the 3 and out in the first possession, and a screen, as always, is going to bail us out as Perry is able to get it across the line to gain for a change of downs, and a nice spin move by the man himself. Completely lost the first tackler, and across the middle, Lions from Gurner will net him a huge gain. And we are 3 yards from the red zone, 3rd and 7. We're rolling out to his right-hand side. He's going to dump it off to Burgess Jr., and he fights for the first down, and he gets it. And the boys are cooking now. Another one out to the right-hand side. A jump ball. Bo Sparks goes up and gets it over the defender who was completely clueless. What in the world? He went to the next level and got that one. He had another gear there, and we'll get a second look at it. An absolute terrible throw from Gurner, a complete duck. But Sparks on the receiving end made him look good on that. We get a view from the quarterback's POV. But man, what an absolute stellar play there from our top wideout, as we get a look at the impact players, and who other than Khalil Alexander was able to have a decent game against the Sun Devils, and hoping to keep building on a great season so far, as Hudson breaks some ankles there, and he gets the first down and a ton of yards after it, as the Bobcats has a defensive tackle go down with a wrist injury. But what a move by Redmond. Did I say Hudson? I meant Redmond. Blue Redmond with another carry. 2nd of the day, 25 yards after that big gain. Quarterback keeper. And it'll be 3rd and 8. A massive stop here would be a very big turning point, especially if he can get some points afterwards. With the quarterback on the move, wide open, tight end across the middle. And that'll be a 40-yard gain. On the move, the quarterback throwing against his body, able to make the great play. Backup running back, spin move into a couple tacklers. Won't get to the line to gain. 4th and 3, they'll settle for a field goal. And this one up and wide as he misses it, no good. As the score will remain 7-0 as the Bobcats take over on their own 24. As they'll give it up to Perry once again, but Perry drops it on the ground, and the groupers will come up with it. And now they switch back to on their 24. And Perry, his first fumble of the year, or first one not recovered by the team. And that will put them in prime position to score. And they will do so on the very first play, as Craig is able to scamper across the line. Xavier Craig was able to just work behind his tacklers. A great blocking there from the tight end out in the flat. That's one thing he has done a good improvement on, is having a ton of guys being able to block further downfield. Gurner rolling around to the left-hand side. A great catch by Lions over his head, as we will get to the end of the first quarter. And the Bobcats are making some good progress, but the groupers are also staying in this game, score tie through 1. As we're hopefully going to pull out here in the second half. Another screen play to Perry, a ton of green grass in front of him, a foot race. But he gets caught at the 21 as Gurner passes the 100-yard mark for passing with 1 touchdown as well. 3rd and goal, can't get there, but we're going to go for it on the 1-yard line. A little power to the left, beats the first defender, but doesn't beat the second. And they are inches away. Looking at it here, oh my goodness. If he could have stuck that arm out, maybe would have gotten the touchdown, but wasn't able to get it. But after a couple 3 and outs, we'll pick up back up here with the Bobcats over the middle in between 3 defenders. And if he could have fitted in that window, that would have been an amazing pass, but just over the head of his tight end out there. The 10th rush of the day for Perry will just net him 21 yards on the day. Not a great average. And the Bobcats choose to go for it again, broken up to the right-hand side. And that will bring us to halftime. A pretty stellar defensive performance going on both ways. A ton of yards for the Bobcats. Just have been able to get it into the red zone a ton and into that end zone. They do have one turnover today, which is that fumble by Perry. So maybe if they can settle down, not turn the ball over the rest of the game, and continue their good moving down the field, they might be able to get some points. But off the head of the defender, as Alexander was about to run it down and would have got an easy pick six. Wasn't able to get his hands on it. As Anderson cuts back a couple times, tries to roll off the defender, but he won't have the ability to stay up. He had some green grass in front of him as he was able to beat that last guy. He would have had a big kickoff or a punt return. Gerner drops back to pass across the middle, and that is an interception. And that is exactly what we didn't need, as we were having some momentum after a great return. The linebacker just left his assignment, read Gardner's eyes, and read him like a book and got that pick. But out to the right-hand side, a big stop here by the Bobcats will give us the ball with just under 6 to play as we are halfway through this third quarter. This time to Burrell, cuts back from his defender and is able to get that first down to our own 41 as Perry gets subbed out with a little bit of an injury. This time out into the flat. Burgess Jr. nice spin move, is able to absolutely lose his defender and get the first down all at the same time, as that puts Gerner just under 200 yards in passing. This time to Perry coming back from the injury. Cuts back. Nice block from the lineman. A foot race to the end zone. And the defensive back for the Groupers is able to run him down and will be within the 5-yard line. We weren't successful the last time we were in here with the 5-yard line, and a couple plays ago we ran it 3 times straight and we got stopped 3 separate times. But this time Burrell off the RPO, and it'll be a handoff, a nice cutback, and 6 points. His second touchdown of the season will come in a very pivotal moment, a situation we didn't think we were going to be in today. We thought we could run away with this one, but Burrell is helping us out in a dire situation as we'll go up 14-7, and we'll get another look there. And that was a better play by the lineman in the trenches, getting some big blocks as we're done with 3 quarters. But as we come into the fourth quarter, we have a ton of yards, which is exactly what we needed for our recruiting trail efforts. But we'll get the ball to start the fourth quarter. 1st and 10, wide open. Titus Lyons and Gerner overthrew him. And we have seen that story multiple times. Has overthrown multiple people and does it again. But this time, the defender is there to pick him off. Long way with a massive pick as we were getting some momentum ahead of steam. It'll be another interception, his second of the day, coming off a game where he threw 3 against the Sun Devils. And Gerner's going to have to find it out. But before then, we're going to have to stop the running back, Craig. A ton of field in front of him, the 20-yard line, and he will get caught. But the Groupers are in the red zone for another time today, coming off that massive momentum swinging pick. And they'll have their first carry, 4th and 2 this time. They have to go for it, and they get it across the first down line. And they are threatening 1st and goal from the 8. After a couple sacks or tackles for losses, it'll be 4th and 6. The defender, Alexander, completely whiffs on the tackle. But good thing the defense was there to get him, and they'll miss the field goal. 0 for 2 today on field goals for the Groupers. And it'll stay 14-7, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. We just need to run down the time on 3rd and 10. This time, Gerner will be able to connect with Lyons. Doesn't overthrow him here and gets the big first down. Giving it back to Burrell. Already 1 touchdown today. He cuts it back up and gets up the middle for 9. Another time handing it off. Doesn't have the same success. Loses 1 as the Groupers will use their second time out. We just need to run the clock down enough to get out of this one. But another time stuffed by Burrell. The defense today from the Groupers has been amazing in the run game as we're here in a clutch moment. And we are able to find the middle of the field goal. We've had some early season struggles with finishing some drives off with field goal kicking. So excited that we got one there. And another amazing throw, this time a 28-yarder down the left-hand side. We'll get the change of downs for the groupers, dropping back to pass again, another time on third down. And our defense is failing us across the middle there. 4th and 16, a jump ball, and the third time in a row, the groupers find out a way to get the first down late into the drive. And dropping back to pass, a fumble. Khalil Alexander picks it up, and he is going to run it back the 50, the 40, the 30, 20, 15, 10. Oh, he's starting to cramp, and he's going to finish it out. He's able to get it in the end zone, even though he started to cramp up, strikes that Heisman pose. A fumble recovery touchdown for our best player this season. What an electric moment, and what a way to top that game off, as we will take home the victory and end this game 24-7 as the Bobcats get their second win of the season. But it doesn't come without some struggles. We definitely need to fix those as we go into conference play if we're going to have a chance to play at the title. A great performance by Garner. Some struggling issues with completion percentage he hopefully is going to fix this season. But as we get out of the game against FCS Southeast, it was a lot closer than the scoreboard led us to believe. We won 24-7, but the big scoop and score at the end put us up another touchdown. All in all, I don't think it was a great game. We had some big issues. We went for a lot of 4th down, some risky plays because we thought we were just a better team by far. And that really held us down a little bit, where we could have put them back in their own territory, further down, closer to the goal line. But we gave them some good open field at times. But looking at our player stats, Holden Garner, 297 yards. Unfortunately, he did throw 2 interceptions. One was iffy. That cornerback came out of nowhere. He's covered about 20 yards in 3 seconds and was able to pick us off. But other than that, 1 touchdown. The offensive line did well, only allowing 1 sack today, a 62% completion percentage, 37 attempts on 23 completions. So not the best in the world, only good enough for a 127.6 quarterback rating. But on the flip side, in the running back room, we had a lot of carries, not a lot of success. Average around that 4 yards per carry. Their defense played a lot better than what their stats may have led us to believe. Burrell led us with 44 yards on 13 carries with a touchdown to round him out. Lincoln Perry, 41 yards on 15 carries, under 3 yards per carries, and he did fumble that big momentum swinging fumble there in our own territory. We were able to hold them off. Holden Garner, a rush for 10 yards as well. But outside of that, not a lot of carries on a ton of touches, which is a little bit worrisome. And then receiving 87 yards for Perry. Again, we're having a lot of success with those short dump offs to the running back. So we may need to build that more into our game plan going forward. And then Bo Sparks, the only touchdown in the receiving category, went up top to the top 4, was able to moss a defender, which was just an exceptional play. But as we step over and take a look at the defense, it's an absolute smothering game by our defense. We only allowed 7 points today, which probably should have been more. If their kicker could have hit some more field goals, he was 0 for 2 today. But 2 sacks by Kyron, another one by Khalil Alexander. We didn't have a ton of sacks, only 4 on the day, but we were in the backfield blowing up a ton of runs. 7 tackles for losses from Khalil Alexander, another 4 up top. Another 4. We just had so many guys getting in the backfield and blowing up some plays. And then we had 3 guys with 10+ tackles. Terrell, Crosby, and Alexander are all very, very good. Alexander even had 2 deflections and a fumble recovery for that touchdown. Went 79 yards. Almost got a cramp there towards the end, but was able to put us up with the final score 24-7. And with the week 4 game against FCS Southeast, Khalil Alexander will win our first Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Week award. He had 1 sack, 5 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and a touchdown to round him out. What a performance. Best player in the conference, and what an award to win this week. And to even top that off, he went ahead and was named the National Defensive Player of the Week as well. What a week for this big defensive edge. He was doing it all for us. And that was a big proponent for our big win last week. But as we get out of this one, we played 2 games today. We went 1-1, moved us to 2-2 on this season. I'm very, very excited for us. We finally got a Player of the Week award with Khalil Alexander. Very, very good for him. But looking forward to the rest of the season. We have our feet starting to get under us, so I'm very, very excited about our proponents and how we're going to do for the rest of the year. But we just need to keep pushing and keep improving on what we're doing so far. 2-2 isn't good enough. I don't want to go 6-6. I want to have at least a 7-5, maybe even better record, possibly compete for the Sun Belt Conference Championship in our final year in the conference. But next episode, we'll cover a ton of stats around the league. We're on a bye week, and we'll get into the game at the end of the next episode. We're going to check up on some of our recruits and see how we did last week and see if that boosted us back into the good graces of some of those guys that blocked us out. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope y'all enjoy and catch up with this weekly rack up at the end of the week where we had to cover 2 weeks. So stick around for that. But I'm glad y'all tuned in. I hope to see you all back, and I'll see you all in next episode. And a huge shout out to Chris, our very first premium channel member. Thanks for all your support, man. It's really appreciated.